You can run the solution on a computer and share it over a network to an iPad. However, if you plan to run your business solely from an iPad, then you need to save the solution to your iPad. You'll receive an email like this where you can then download your client management solution. Simply tap download, and then when it's finished, copy it to FileMaker Go. FileMaker Go will then prompt you for your account name and your password, which were included in your email. I would recommend that you then save that in your keychain so that you won't have to re-enter those each time that you use the system. I do recommend that if you save your password in the keychain, that you also require a password. On a newer iPad, this will allow you to use your fingerprint to unlock your client management solution. On an older iPad, this will still require that you enter at least that same 4-digit or longer code that you use when you open your iPad. Once all that is entered, you can see that you've got the solution right there on the iPad with full functionality. If, again, you are only using it on your iPad, then you need a method of backing up. So I recommend that once a week you export your client management solution into some sort of cloud drive. If you use Apple's iCloud backup, you might think that you do not need to back up to Dropbox or some other cloud service as well. I would recommend that you do. The reason is this: the iCloud backup for your whole iPad is just that, a backup of your whole iPad. Exporting your client management solution to another cloud drive or even iCloud drive allows you to get at just that file from time to time. So it provides a little more flexibility in your backup strategy. Backing up is simple. When you close your client management solution, you'll see a file menu. Simply choose the select option, then choose your solution, and then share the solution. Notice here that I have 3 options available. I've got Microsoft's OneDrive, I've got Dropbox, I also have iCloud Drive. So right there I can choose to save to Dropbox. So now I'm getting it off of my iPad and into the cloud. When Dropbox comes up, I can choose what folder to save it to. And again, it's pretty much the same with all of those cloud services. And so that way you have a backup that's not on your iPad. So should you lose your iPad or something happens, you have something in the cloud. I would recommend that you do this exporting to a cloud drive at least once a week so that you are safely protected and backed up. Notice that next time you choose to open your client management solution, then you'll just be prompted to enter your passcode or your fingerprint. And once again, you'll be right back into your solution with full functionality on your iPad. Now we'll look at using the client management system on a computer and sharing it over the network to an iPad. First, you'll want to save your client management solution from an email to a cloud directory. So if I go to, in this case, I'll use my OneDrive. Notice it's OneDrive, and there's my client management training. If I put this here, it'll start to update and be uploaded to OneDrive. And you can see that happening right here with this little icon showing that it's being uploaded. So now any changes that I make here will get to the cloud directory. So now let's open this for the first time. So now we're in the client management system for the first time. You might want to choose to change your password. If you go to Update Items, I can go down to Change Password, and then I can enter the old password and new password and do all that. So that you've got this customized. And remember, you have 2 accounts. There's the owner that can run all of the reports, like your annual report and your 3-month detail and all that kind of stuff. And then the assistant login, which can do everything but run those reports. All right, so let's say that we were making a couple of changes in here. I'll just add a middle name for Chris here. And so that's enough to change the file a little bit. When I close the file, it will continue to back up into my cloud directory. So the client management system just finished backing up to the cloud directory. It took a few minutes because it's 108 megabytes. That's not very large in today's computing, but it all depends on your internet speed and all that, how long that'll take. So I encourage you to leave your computer open another 5 minutes or so at the end of the day, close the system and then run around, turn off the lights and all that to make sure it has a moment to back up to your cloud directory. In this case, the client management system itself is probably 8 megabytes, but all the pictures and forms and data that I've added are another 100. At some point, it might get so large that it takes more than 5 minutes to back up to a cloud directory, and that all depends on your internet speed and everything else. And then maybe you'll decide to make sure that 2 days a week, you leave the computer on a little bit extra at the end of the day to make sure that it's getting backed up to the cloud directory. In addition, I strongly recommend using another backup system. For example, on the Mac, you have Time Machine built in. On Windows, you have Windows Backup built in. And that will allow you a little more security. So when you synchronize to a cloud directory, you often have access only to the latest version of your file. But let's say your assistant deleted a number of clients when you ask them to delete a number of services. You cannot undelete a client. So you need not just the latest version of the client management system, you need the client management system from the previous day or week. And that's where using a regular backup system can save you. So if you're using something like Windows Backup or Time Machine, then you can step back in and say, oh, I want the file from yesterday or from a week ago. And so you can have two forms of protection. So I recommend using both a cloud directory and a system backup. And you don't have to use the ones that are built in. There are all kinds of backup systems out there as well. Setting up your solution to share in your office is actually quite simple. On your computer, simply go to the Network menu item and then choose Share with FileMaker Clients. And you'll see the options there. Just make sure that sharing is turned on, and that's pretty much all you need to do. Then to access it from the iPad, open FileMaker Go on the iPad, and then choose the Hosts icon at the bottom right. Hosts are the people on your network who are sharing. Do not worry that your data is in any way insecure. Your Office wireless network should be secured with a password. So that is one level of security. Additionally, FileMaker requires a login and password to access the solution within your Office. So you have two layers of security right there. Nobody outside your Office network could even have access to the database. Anybody on your Office network would need to have FileMaker and the login credentials. The unsecured network note really doesn't make sense in this particular case. If you are sharing a solution over the internet, meaning that you were accessing something that was not just in your office, but somehow further out into the internet, then you would want additional security measures to make sure that your connection is encrypted. But since it's already there in your office and you already have two layers of encryption, additional encryption isn't needed. Tap that solution and either log in for the first time, or if you've logged in before and saved the password in your keychain, just use your fingerprint to get into the solution. And now you and the person on your computer are both working in real time and collaborating and sharing. It's important to remember that when you're working with the solution, either on the iPad or the computer, the changes to a record are not committed until you leave the active field. For example, let's say that I change Chris's name to have two S's at the end. Notice that field is still active. Only when I tap on a different field or on the computer when I tab to the next field will that change for that particular field, just his first name, be committed. In order to use the client management system on different devices simultaneously, you need to share it over the network as we just showed. Asynchronous sharing is when you're using the client management system at different times on different devices. So let's say you've left your office and your computer is also at the office. At home, you want to work with the solution on your iPad. The important thing to remember is that when you're not working with a shared network file, the iPad app only opens a copy of the CMS and stores it on your iPad. So you need to be a little careful to not end up entering data in two different solutions. Here are the steps to make sure it goes well. Remember, every time you will need to get your CMS from the cloud. So you can go to the FileMaker Go app and choose the Add File option in FileMaker Go, and then navigate to where you've stored your CMS in a cloud directory. Then you can open the CMS in FileMaker Go and work. Every time when you're finished, export the CMS out of FileMaker Go and back to your cloud drive. If you don't export the solution back to your cloud drive, then effectively you will have entered data in two different solutions. So you want to make sure it all gets into the one place so you've got the right reporting and everything else. And then every time again, when you next access the CMS on your computer, give your cloud service a moment to finish synchronizing. In this example, I was using Dropbox, so the next time I opened my computer, I would want to make sure Dropbox had finished syncing my files before opening the client management system, again, to prevent duplicates. When I replace a file in Dropbox, you'll notice that it shows first that the file was deleted and then that a file was added. Different cloud services report this slightly differently. I just wanted to show you what this looked like in real time as I exported from the iPad and watched the computer for the update. It is simple and easy to share over the network because everything is updated automatically and there's no chance to have data entered in one place and not in another. However, when you're doing asynchronous sharing, it's not hard, but it's important that each time you get your CMS from the cloud, you work in it in FileMaker Go, and then each time you export it back to the cloud and make sure that the cloud has time to synchronize on your computer. There is no hosting solution that does not include monthly fees. So this is why we've designed this system to be shared over the Office network with no monthly fees, and also access your client management solution while you are out of your office.